Hi, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, when or wherever you may be. Now, as you can see by the title today, uh, we are going to be talking about something that seems very simple, but that I've discovered it's also happening quite often here. A couple of days ago, I spoke with a friend of mine that still lives in our hometown, which is a typical farming town. Okay, the basics of the little town. It's a bit of industry, mostly to serve trucks and all of that crap, and farming. A lot of farming. This includes also dairies. This includes greenhouses. This includes an aviary. Okay, eggs and all of that. And he was telling me that with all of these heat waves and all of this, the schedule for harvests is going completely berserk. He's telling me I'm having to sow much early. I'm having to hire people much early. It's been he was basically we were just, because when I talk with my friends, okay, we don't discuss politics, we don't discuss any of that. We just discuss how we are, how our families are, and what we've been doing in our jobs. Okay, this is the way we talk, and I like it this way. This is the reason why I have so many so little in this case friends. Okay, because I keep friends. I don't acquaintances. They come and they go. Okay, but he was telling me that things like, for example, he was talking about, I don't want to say the crops, because if I say the crops, anyone that passes by this video will know who the person is that I'm talking about. But it's farming products, okay? And he was telling me that he was harvesting them much earlier, and he was even considering, if the winter is not that cold, he will start to plant to pick in the spring, because the weather is changing. Doesn't change absolutely. We still have cold in winter. In my hometown, it has a microclimate, meaning climate that is slightly different from the surrounding area. So it's extremely hot during summer and extremely cold during winter. So there is that little difference. But even there have been differences. So I came across this video in Euronews about the Champagne region in France, and I thought I should put this video on so that we could talk a bit about it. And I'm humbling reporting about it. Okay, again, no, not AI. Sorry, I'm too fat to be AI. Now, let's watch the video, folks, and then we can talk a bit about it.
Here, the schedule has been completely turned upside down. In the famous Champagne wine region in northeastern France, the harvest began very early in August, a first for some winemakers. On the hillsides of Auvilliers, grape pickers started their day as early as 6:30 a.m. as the grapes ripened at record speed due to the intense heat. This year, the first harvests officially began between August 12 and 17, depending on the area and grape variety, nearly a month earlier than just a few decades ago.
Moi, ça fait 30 ans que je travaille sur l'exploitation. Et au début que je travaillais, à 30 ans, mon père il me disait au 15 août, allez, pars en vacances. Et aujourd'hui, on est le 18 août, on est en pleine vendange et c'est du jamais vu.
A little further east in Tours-sur-Marne, the situation is the same. The owner of these vineyards can't help but notice that for the past 20 years or so, and especially since the 2003 heat wave, the harvest has consistently started earlier, and that we will likely have to get used to this in the future.
2003 reste dans les annales, on s'en souvient encore, c'est d'ailleurs la première année où on a vendangé fin août en Champagne. Depuis 2003, on a déjà vendangé au moins 10 fois fin août. Et donc 2026 restera probablement dans les annales par son gel, par sa précocité. Et peut-être que dans 20 ans, on se dira que finalement, vendanger le 15 août, ça devient à peu près normal.
Indeed, this year's frost in late March initially reduced the harvest. before 4 heat waves and drought further accelerated the grapes' ripening. It remains to be seen what this express harvest will yield in the bottles. In the cellar, the first juice has already been pressed and the first bubbles are foaming. So we'll have to wait a few years to find out if this very early vintage will also turn out to be a great one.
Indeed, but knowing the quality of the grapes, I'm not a champagne connoisseur. Okay, I don't even like it that much. I'm not much of a wine drinker. The only wine I really drink occasionally is a warm red from South Portugal, which is very heavy, very sweet, and with a high level of alcohol. But it's excellent for food. That is the only type of wine I drink. But I have a feeling that the wine will be just fine, because these are expert hands that are taking care of it, okay? And people, the farmers will adapt just like they are. But it's interesting to note how these slight changes in temperature affect everything in our daily lives, okay? It's affecting the wine harvester, it's affecting the migration of animals, it's affecting absolutely everything, okay? I have been seeing during winter there are some bird species that used to leave my region. I mean, a couple of birds would remain, but most of them would leave the region where I live, and they would go to North Africa. And some of them, the birds that came from the north, they used to live around. How can I say this? The birds that come from the north, they come during summer, okay, like ducks and geese and a lot of birds, okay, a lot of species. And those birds, some of them are not coming because they are remaining in the places where they are, and they are just coming in later, and they spend the winter here. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? And the birds that used to be here during summer, and then after the winter would come, they would go to North Africa. They are also staying here. So this is changing everything completely. And even in the woods during summer, as you know, because of the fire hazards and forest fires and all, and the heat itself, that I really bear with a lot of difficulty, with a lot of issues. And even in the summer, in the woods, I have noticed different patterns of animals, such as boar, rabbit, wild rabbits, wildcats, a species that I don't know how you say it in English, but we call them sacarabos. It's a kind of a weasel. I have in birds, I have noticed that they are more active. This is the only way I can explain it. These are animals that used to just be more active during the colder months, and now you go into the woods, and if you go at the time that I go, meaning early dawn or almost sundown, I already am seeing them very active in the woods, looking for food. Okay, I see certain species, certain types of nuts and berries, wild berries, that we have here, that they ripe quicker, and they also dry out quicker. This is the truth. I used to go. I love wild berries and all of that, and I used to take a little bag and I would pick some. Okay, when you go into the woods, you don't pick everything. Okay, this is a lesson number one. You don't go there to steal, commas, the resources of the animals. I don't pick mushrooms. I know how to pick them, but yeah, I'm a bit fearful of picking up something that might be contaminated by some kind of bug, because we have bugs that do contaminate mushrooms here. So if you ever come here to Portugal, never, I mean never pick up mushrooms without someone near you that knows what they are doing, okay? And you can see the signs just by visually looking at the mushroom, even if it's one of those types of mushrooms that you can pick and eat. But when you go into the woods, you just pick enough for you, okay? And what do? I bring a little bag, and I put around a handful of berries in the bag so that I can munch on my way back to the house, or that I can even bring into the house and I can put them on some ice cream or whatever, okay? Or I just can eat them out of the bush and be done with it, you know? And I noticed this. I noticed that those berries around early July, they were already dried out, and they usually only dry out during August. So I noticed this at least a month early. And I noticed the patterns of the animals, even the ones that I didn't see. I just had to, if you, there I go, showing off as the bushman, okay? Look, I'm not a hero or a survivalist, but I know my way around the woods. And I would look to the ground, and I would see the pattern of the footprints of animals. And I noticed animals that I only used to see when, I don't know, when August was done, around late September even. I'm seeing the tracks of those animals already here. Foxes especially. Foxes right now, they are extraordinarily active. They are moving about. I have seen them in places that I never thought I would see them. Okay, and those ones I can tell you I have seen them because I have visually saw them. And the rabbits also, and the boars, when I hear them, I just move out of the way. If another lesson I would give you in Portugal, wild boars are extremely dangerous and they can kill you. It's one of the only things in our woods that, and a kind of a snake that lives in the highlands that can kill you. Okay, so if you hear a boar or if you see a boar, you go the opposite way. Okay, even if you have to go out of your way not to be near it, don't be near it, or else be ready for a fight. Right? But again, I thought this news was interesting. I thought it was worth of making a video, and I guess this is a reality that we are going to have to come to terms with and get used to it, because the heat is not going away anytime soon. So, and the heat waves and climate change. So, folks, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for hitting that like button, telling the algorithm that I'm doing something right. I'm not monetized, folks. Okay, I don't pretend or want to be even monetized, because if I monetize, I won't be able to talk about the things that I like, the things that I think are interesting, and the things I think that are useful for all of us. Even if it's just a small news like this one that we can also talk about because it's simply interesting, and to talk about interesting things. So, folks, thank you and have yourselves a great